What's happening, everybody? Free agency week 1 is about in the books, and we're here to talk about it. Have to break down all the madness, whether it's signs, trades, re-signs. It's been madness here, but it's too much fantasy football. Your two co-hosts, we've got Brian, we've got Brennan. How we doing today, man?
Fighting off all my friends telling me that Danny Dimes is going to start week 1 is just so much fun.
Right? We got to put him in their place. Be like, listen, folks, he's not starting until week 3. Back off.
Yeah, dude. I'll wager against anybody else here too. If you think that Anthony Richardson won't start week 1, barring injury, I will gamble any amount of money. Any amount of money.
Passionate fans is what we are, folks. That's what we're here to talk about. Anthony Richardson, is he going to be the starter? Who's playing for the Steelers? Who's playing for the Vikings? Who's playing for the Giants? All of these questions, will they be answered? Well, most of those actually won't, but we're going to answer all the others. We're here to fill them all out and give you the fallout of the fantasy football implications. So without further ado, let's get this thing rolling.
Let's do it.
Let's do some free agency reactions. We're going to go back in time a little bit, go back to Friday. It's really where it all began. And have you remembered a year where we've had this much fun, the 3 days leading up to the tampering period? Because I just felt like we had so much news this past weekend.
I would say I don't think I remember this many, I don't want to say blockbuster trades or moves, because like DK being moved was kind of shocking just because of what they're doing over there. So I can't remember this much trades, I guess. It's starting to become more of a NBA kind of a thing where they are willing to start trading more guys for draft capital, so it is a little more interesting.
I love the conversation that gets brought up, all the kids that grew up playing Madden, playing the franchise mode. Those guys are now in the NFL, and that's why we're getting to see more of this.
A little bit.
I'll buy into it. I'll take it. So first one, we've got Friday. The Seahawks, they're slowly tearing it down here. Traded Geno Smith to the Raiders for a 2025 third. It looks like Pete Carroll has his guy. Well, it's his guy he's had before, so it seems familiarity there. Brock Bowers. I've seen ridiculousness on X. Some people are trying to put up the argument we should be worried. There's no way, absolutely no way, that this is a negative move for Brock Bowers.
No, if you're trying to tell me that it's a negative move from him having Aiden O'Connell and Desmond Ridder as quarterback, that's crazy, because Geno, I think, isn't he statistically the most accurate quarterback in the NFL by the metrics?
If not, he was top 3 over the last 2 years.
Yeah. So I think this is great for him and Jacoby Myers and whoever else they bring in, but you should not be worried about Brock Bowers in the slightest.
And that's the big thing. This is probably the last we're going to talk about the Raiders for this episode, because they haven't done much else. So yeah, Jacoby Myers is a huge winner, and I think that means Brock Bowers is. Go ahead. You want to talk about Raheem Mostert?
They just signed Raheem Mostert, man.
Look, folks, I put up a list of guys to talk about here, and I can't tell you the names that this one's going to be bringing up over here. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Raheem Mostert, 1 year, I think $3 million deal.
He'll be a 1 week wonder next year. Watch, and I can't wait to rub it in your face. You didn't want to talk about him.
I would be willing to bet he doesn't make the roster for the Raiders.
I'll wager that with you.
I can't wait till they take Genty in the first round.
He's got to have a backup. It's not Zamir White.
It's sincere. Awful. It's sincere McCormick, man.
Yeah,
I know. But Geno, fantasy implications here, just as far as the Raiders. I think. Would you spend a first round pick on Brock Bowers with Geno in redraft this year?
I try to avoid doing that with tight ends. I think you and I both have the same philosophy. It's just too rich. If he falls to that mid second round, it's that point. It's all right. It's kind of tempting because it's he's kind of falling past ADP. But I don't want to draft him at ADP or reach. He's definitely got to fall about 5 to 7 spots before I really start to be okay, this is really tempting.
Yeah, I'm hoping there is a little stink on Geno for whatever reason by maybe the more common listener. Just maybe we get a chance at drafting Brock Bowers in the second. But yeah, it's going to be a little rich, but I do think it's a good step up for him. Jacoby Myers might be a steal in best ball and fantasy redraft this year.
Yeah.
Next up, we are moving to the Vikings. Well, we're not actually moving. Aaron Jones isn't. He's staying put. Re-signs 2 years, $20 million. Ty Chandler does not seem to be the future. I imagine we draft somebody here in Minnesota as well.
Yeah, the only problem is they don't have a lot of draft capital because their GM traded a lot last year for getting J.J. McCarthy and then Dallas Turner. So I think they only have a first-round pick and then it's a fifth with the seventh. I think they only have 3 draft picks this year. So, like, they really got to make it count. I don't know if a running back's going to be one of those. I think they'll probably get an undrafted guy and hope he makes the roster kind of a thing, or they just, one of the running backs that falls to the fifth round. But Aaron Jones coming back is probably good, I guess I would say, for this offense. Like, and if they are going to roll it with JJ McCarthy, that's going to be his best friend, just, hopefully doing check downs and dump off. So
give it to me.
It's probably a good thing for Aaron Jones to go back to Minnesota.
So at this point, where are you viewing Aaron Jones? Probably like a mid to late RB2 is probably where I'm seeing him in my eyes.
Yeah, he's probably somewhere in like the 18 to 22 range. I didn't need to look at my rankings again, but it's probably safe to say it's probably right around there. I don't know where he's going in best ball right now, but I'm assuming it's probably a little bit later.
Well, funny you ask. I've got it right here. He is going at RB26, just behind James Conner, Quinshon Judkins, and Tyrone Tracy.
That's probably just because he was free agent. Now that he's signed, I think they'll probably move up a little bit.
Yeah, I 100% believe, because there are quite a few rookies above him already. Yeah. We got Omarion Hampton already at RB17.
That's a top 10 running back, though.
Ashton Genty, how high do you think he is?
Oh, I think he's probably top 4.
He's top 5 right now. Yeah. Interesting stuff. And honestly, you talk about the few draft picks that they do have here in Minnesota. They don't need a whole lot. They've continued to shore up this defense. They've retooled the offensive line. They took nearly half of it from the Indianapolis Colts.
We did a trade. We did a bunch of trades with them, basically.
Yeah, the Colts got a cornerback from them. They got a center and a guard from us. So, the offensive line should be more improved. They've got some pieces out there. Don't remember their tackles coming off an injury. That's why they had to trade midseason last year. Is it Darisaw?
Christian Darisaw. Yeah,
Darisaw,
very good left tackle.
So he'll be coming back. That offensive line should be shored up quite a bit better, which that bodes well for Aaron Jones. It bodes well for JJ McCarthy. They have their 2 receivers there. I've seen a few, have you seen the Jordan Addison for Sauce Gardner trade that's been floating around there in like the rumor mill?
No, the only thing I've seen is that the Cooper Kupp going to the Vikings.
I'd hate that. I would absolutely hate that for fantasy. That would diminish
his value, yeah.
So, it would take a hit to Addison for sure. Hawkinson would probably take a bump. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Do you know what we do want to see? We talked about, a little tease there with Kupp being cut. Well, you got to fill the hole when one empties out. So, instead of it being Puka Nacua and Kupp, it's Puka and Adams. Puka Adams. That's what we want to see. These two going at it. Devontae Adams has been traded there. I don't know if he was cut and picked up. I don't remember exactly.
He was cut and picked up.
Cut and picked up. There we go.
He got signed on the Saturday before free agency. I think this is actually beneficial for Puka because Puka's using a lot of motion. He's never really been, I guess, an X type for them because that's how McVay uses his guys. So I think Demarcus Robinson was their X last year. So this is going to benefit Devontae. I like him. I think he's a very safe wide receiver too now. I'm still drafting Puka where he's going. I'm not really worried. I think his touchdowns might take a hit, but he's still going to be a target and reception king.
Yeah, I really like it. I think there's going to be many weeks where we get both of these guys in the top 12. Puka, I have as a top 12 finish. Adams, obviously rankings, we don't have those officially finished, but just raw projections, he's going to be top 16 for me, I believe.
Yeah, he'll probably be like around 20 for me if I had to guess.
While we're on the Rams, if this doesn't prove that you shouldn't be a running back, that you should be a wide receiver, Tutu Atwell will be their 3rd wide receiver, re-signed a 1-year, $10 million deal. Bigger than any running back we're going to talk about today. Aaron Jones got an average of $10 million a year. Aaron Jones is a seasoned NFL vet, a fantasy football vet, and look at Tutu getting just as much.
Yeah.
That's some booty.
Good for him. Get paid.
Good for Jay. We're happy for Tutu. We're just happy for our running backs. Those are our bread and butter here on fantasy football. Trades, and trade some more. Let's happen. DK Metcalf, Seattle. So we've now traded Geno Smith. They've cut Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf being shipped off, traded to Pittsburgh, and then he was re-signed there. 5-year, $150 million. This does not seem like a Pittsburgh move at all to me.
No, but they were in on Ayuk last year. It was down to the wire, and then San Francisco finally matched his offer of what he wanted. So, it kind of makes sense. They wanted, a wide receiver, but, DK and George Pickens on the same teams, I feel bad for whatever cornerback's got to guard them because I just know they're going to just wreak havoc while their quarterback just gets demolished back there. In all honesty, though, I don't like this for DK for fantasy purposes. Because, one, I mean, we're going to say it. I mean, we'll give you new information. Mason Rudolph just signed there for a 2-year deal. I mean, it's only $8 million, so it's backup money. The rumor mill is that Aaron Rodgers is really intrigued with Pittsburgh and Minnesota, and he had a meeting with the Giants, so it's between one of those three.
And for Pittsburgh at this point, it's either a rookie Aaron Rodgers or Russ.
Yeah, and I mean, Russ, I do honestly, like, if I had a pick, I'm going to take Rodgers. Like, I just think Rodgers still has a nice, pretty deep ball throw, and that works well for Pickens and DK.
Give me Jackson Dart.
Yeah, but he can't throw the deep ball well.
That's okay.
Yeah.
The intermediate, those guys are good in the open field.
How far did he move down for you? Because, like, I kind of don't want to draft him right now.
I mean, definitely without a quarterback, that scare and that limbo is there. You know, DK, despite only one top 12 finish, he still gives you wide receiver 2 vibes. He still produces that type of game that he can give you a number 1 overall finish any given week. I think he's a guy that's probably going to go somewhere in the teens of wide receivers, but I want to draft him in the 20s. I want to get him at wide receiver 22, 24, somewhere in there, so that I have a little bit more leeway with whatever quarterback. Because no matter any of those 3 quarterbacks we talked about, rookie, Russ, or Rodgers, it's going to have its bumps and bruises. It's this offense, how they play. The defense is great. Arthur Smith, 2 good wide receivers now. They like to run the ball. Arthur Smith, did I say that already? You know, Darnell Washington's going to have a career year this year. The backup tight end, like you just got to see these things coming.
Yeah, I think you and I are both in the same agreement. We'd like Rodgers to go there for fantasy purposes. I think that would be the best outcome for both DK, Pickens, and their other, Jalen Warren, I guess you could say, so to speak, too.
If Rodgers goes here, is he a top 12 finish?
For DK?
Oh, no, for Rodgers. If Rodgers comes here with these 2 weapons.
No.
Would you put him top 16?
Yeah, I'd say 16 is probably the cutoff.
16 to 20 is, I think, about where I'd have him. I think he'd finish in the top 12 about 5-ish times. He'll have a couple games where he gets 3 touchdowns.
Weeks. He probably have, I would say, the line at 3.5. But, I mean...
Yeah, overall, he doesn't run, and they just lost the left tackle, too. He just got signed to a monster contract.
Yeah, he was awful, so...
I mean, overall, they've been trying to rebuild this offensive line for a while, so I'd imagine they've got a pretty good plan, but we'll find out.
We'll see.
We'll see. All righty, let's heartbreaker here. The best wide receiver coming out of free agency, where we thought Chris Godwin, dislocated ankle, looks like he's staying with Tampa. 3 years, $66 million. Evidently, the rumor is he let go of $20 million to stay with the Buccaneers.
Granted, he was wide receiver 2 before he went down with injury, so it was having a career year after tearing his ACL the year before.
2 years.
Kind of bummed for Jalen McMillan, because this is just now very much waiting for one of the guys to go down again, or maybe gets moved. I doubt it. I think they keep him as he's a really, really good wide receiver 3 now, obviously. So, but yeah, Chris Godwin's probably going to be, I would say, undervalued in this upcoming draft, if I had to guess.
You'd think. I'd hope so. Because, I mean, again, I tackled him everywhere last year. He's part of the reason my best ball tanked last year, is because him and Rashee Rice were in way too many of my teams. Which you can't be mad at. Both of those guys performed. It was just, injury bug. Yeah. They got him. The few wide receivers that just got eviscerated.
Yeah, if I had to guess, it was the Patriots that were willing to go the 4-year, $100 and something million for him, because the Patriots have just been lacking in the product of getting a wide receiver.
Chris Godwin at best ball right now is going at wide receiver 33.
Oh my God, that's going to
Mike Evans at 19.
Yeah, I'd rather have Chris Godwin than Mike Evans this year.
Yeah, especially with those prices. Especially those prices. So yeah, Baker's stock definitely stays where it is. Mike Evans, I think it comes down a little bit. Not only the age, but that run he had at the end of the season was because he was getting peppered. Not only were they going for the record, but there was nobody else. It's so much was going to him. So yeah, probably looking at him at a fringe wide receiver 2.
Yeah,
Chris Godwin as a middling to high end wide receiver 2.
Oh, I'd say Chris Godwin's probably a wide receiver 2 for me. I think I have to probably find him a way to get in there. So
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, I'm talking. He's like flirting with our wide receiver one up there at the top, and then McMillan in Dynasty. You just have to hold him. You're not going to get proper
It's a
value for
hold.
him right now.
It's another year of waiting. You had him at the end. You're probably excited in the playoffs because he was really good. But yeah, it sucks.
If they go deep enough in the playoffs, I think that Mike Evans could walk away because he could break Jerry Rice's record. Right now he's tied, so he could break the record this year, and then I think he could walk away after this year as well.
I don't know, man, because if he breaks it again, it's like that just means he can continue to play. It's not like he's slowing down.
Oh, he's barely hit that record multiple times over the last few years. I think that 17 games has been a huge crutch for him.
Probably.
Alrighty. Next up, who do we have here? It's Sam Darnold. Let's go to the Seattles. Look, we talked about all the things they're getting rid of. They brought in a little bit. They brought in a quarterback cheaper than Geno. Younger than Geno, and on a 3-year, $100 million deal with the Seahawks. He will be our quarterback for JSN. What does that do for you in your JSN projections?
I mean, right now I think he's going to kind of stay put because like he had him where he was because of Geno, and I think Sam Darnold's it's just a lateral move. Maybe you can say it's a downgrade or an up, like maybe a slight upgrade. For me, it doesn't really move the needle, so I think JSN just kind of stays put. He maybe gets a little more targets with DK going, but I think this team is definitely going to probably draft like a high-end wide receiver, if I'd imagine now. For me, it's a weird, I mean, I guess from my understanding that what happened was they were trying to offer an extension for Geno. They gave him an offer. He didn't counter. He asked for a trade, and they traded him. That was, I guess, what transpired. It's a little weird. He did not want to come back to Seattle.
I mean, they got rid of the OC. I mean, they keep tinkering with those things there. Maybe looking for a little consistency with Pete Carroll. This offense is going to be funny. They finished with 10 wins. One game away from the playoffs. They were a top 12 offense in multiple metrics, and yet they fired their OC. Brought in another offensive mind who I am excited about. Coming from the Saints, you got one of the young cubes, one of the young Kubiaks. So it's Clint, right? I think it's Clint.
It's Clint.
The motion man, the guy that brought all the magic to to New Orleans for 2 weeks last year. So I'm excited for what he can do, but I imagine they're going to want to run the ball. That's why they kind of switched it up a little bit. We've got 2 running backs there, so yeah. I mean, Sam Darnold, he's got to be a game manager. I think he can get it done, but I don't know if we see magic from him this year.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll win 14 games with that roster, but I think they'll get close again to like anywhere from 7 to 9 wins, and then that's probably a fair assumption with them retooling this roster.
So are you drafting then Sam Darnold in fantasy?
Not a single quarterback league, no. He'll be a waiver wire pickup. He'll be everyone's favorite waiver wire pickup, probably.
Yeah, right now he's going as QB 28. I'm sure a lot of that is due to there was a possibility he wasn't going to get a team. There were a lot of discussions with where guys could go that he might fall out and not get a team. So I'm sure that boosts up a little bit. But yeah, just with what do you have? You have JSN.
Ask you this though, because the Vikings offered him a 1-year, $25 million deal. Again, obviously I don't think they really wanted him back. But like, does that kind of show you they're not really ready for JJ? Because if they're willing to pay him $25 million, that means they want him to start again.
The fact between that and the fact that they're okay with bringing in Aaron Rodgers, who there's no way he's sitting, then yeah, that does tell me. But I think JJ's okay. Not that he's okay with it; they're okay with doing that with him. He's 21. He might be 22
he's
now.
Very young,
incredibly young. So he could sit for another year or so, and they'd be all right. They'd be all right. Okay. So. I still have faith in J.J. McCarthy. If he goes into this year the starter, I'm excited for him in fantasy, just like we saw what Sam Darnold was able to do. He's going to throw the ball a lot. He's got a lot of options, and the offensive line's better.
Yeah, and I trust Kevin O'Connell as a play caller.
Absolutely. You coach of the year? Yeah, we're going to trust that guy. Mm-hmm. We're going to trust him. So JSN, as far as like where he's going in drafts, or at least best ball, he's going at wide receiver 13, mixed in with like Ladd McConkey, Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, Terry McLaurin. It's not a great gang to hang out with, if we're being honest.
I think I've had to rank those guys. I think I'd have Ladd first, just because the Chargers are just doing fuck all with their situation, and then JSN falls right behind him. Yeah,
I think I'd probably put those two together, and then Tyreek, T. Higgins, and Terry McLaurin. Yeah. T. Higgins might be in a tier by himself, and then Terry and Tyreek.
Yep, follow him.
I think I'm a little down on Terry McLaurin, just the way he produced his points last year. It was a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah.
So we're going to have some variables there. They're bringing in talent into Washington. I'm not down on him altogether. It's just his ADP at wide receiver 15. That's about
where he finishes, though.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. So I don't really want to buy him at not necessarily a ceiling because we've seen what a ceiling is, but like
it's okay to take a guy at his like value, like right where his value is, but like I just don't know if that's who I want at value.
I like to take running backs more at value because they're more consistent. Wide receivers there are very spotty, so I like to be more on the under as best I can on those situations.
I agree.
And looking at Terry McLaurin, like his finishes, finished going back to his rookie year, 27, 21, 25, 14, 28, and 6. So he's more traditional, a low-end wide receiver 2. Finally has a quarterback, so that's why I'll bump him. So. Yeah, I'll bump him into that like mid wide receiver 2, but yeah, still, again, it's all about the value and what you're buying, what round, all that fun stuff.
I agree.
JSN, I'm excited. I hope he continues to take another step. I think he could be a borderline top 12 overall player in this league as far as the wide receivers go, but it's that size. That size makes me a little hesitant.
He's a very shifty wide receiver.
Yeah. Anything else on the Seahawks?
No, but I do think, like you said, I think they'll definitely be more of a run-heavy team. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do in the pass game.
Yeah, Ken Walker will be coming up on his last year of his deal. This will be year 3 for Charbonnet. So decisions to be made with that running back room.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Speaking of the running back room, this is a team I want to talk about here a little bit. Let's talk some Jets because they just added a running back to the quarterback room. It's Justin Fields coming in here from Pittsburgh, 2-year, $40 million deal. Adams is out. We still have Garrett Wilson. We still have Breece Hall. Braylon Allen, we got to see the backup running back last year, did pretty decent in his run. Alan Lazard is gone, or I guess they're letting him seek a trade. I don't know if they've officially cut him, but it looks like this wide receiver room is completely open. Malachi Corley. So what are we doing here? Because actually stop. Let me. Can we open up the conversation that Justin Fields walks in as a top 10 quarterback in fantasy?
Yeah, we can. I mean, he's gonna have like games where he has like 60 rushing yards, a touchdown, maybe under 200 yards passing with a touchdown interception 2 in there, but still going to give you a QB1 finish because of the rushing yards. So, like, I think if I'm going to take anybody from this Jets team, it's going to be Fields.
Yeah, he will be the first one on my board as far as, like, which Jets players I'm looking at. As far as, hopefully the value stays there. I'm hoping that enough people doubt it and don't want to play with him because he's not a great overall quarterback or whatever you want to throw at it, but yeah, Justin Fields, I'm incredibly intrigued by this. Now, when it comes to Breece Hall, though.
I'm out. Justin Fields has not dumped the ball off to running backs. That's where Breece Hall's bread and butter was when he was the RB like 2 or 3 that year. And he's kind of lost a step. Like, he didn't, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if you can say the same thing, but, like, he didn't look like Breece Hall. Like, he just looked a little bit slower.
Which is the unfortunate part because last year, 2023 was the year after his ACL year. So usually that's the year they're like, go get him the following year. So 2024 should have been the year. 2023, I thought he still looked pretty good.
Yeah, he did.
Maybe like 90-ish percent, 95%, but I thought he was damn good enough. Not this past year. Now, was Aaron Rodgers dropping ayahuasca in the Gatorade jug? Like, were these guys not 100% for whatever reason? I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt here. But it's all going to be about the price. It is all going to be about the price with Breece Hall. So then let me ask you, right now he's going at RB11. Where does he have to fall for you to find value in Breece?
Oh, boy.
Would you rather have him or Joe Mixon? Joe Mixon or Breece?
I think I'd rather have Joe Mixon for sure.
Joe Mixon's going at 15. Chuba Hubbard at 16.
I think that's where my line is. I'll probably take Breece before I take Chuba.
Now, is this at all due to the signing that Carolina just had of bringing in Rico Dowdle from the Cowboys?
Okay. No, I'd still value. I think Breece is still more talented than Chuba.
Alvin Kamara or Breece?
Oh man, like does Alvin finally hit that cliff? Like,
yeah.
I'll still say, oh god, it's tough. Full point PPR, I'm going to go Kamara. Half point, I'll probably go Breece. but they'll probably be like right there next to each other.
I do want a little flashback here to Fields here. Montgomery, with the sign with Fields, did break over 300 yards back-to-back seasons in receiving with Fields. So it's not a huge accomplishment there, but I don't think he's going to be completely out Breece Hall as far as the receiving work. I still think there's going to be some. But yeah, it's going to be a game of chicken of like how far do you let him go? When do you take him? Garrett Wilson, on the other hand, actually college player. I mean, these two play together, Fields and Garrett Wilson. So where is your excitement for him?
Dude, Garrett Wilson's falling into the Terry McLaurin trajectory of just
they're back-to-back in ADP.
So crazy. It's just like, Garrett Wilson's super talented. So like, and they did play with each other in college at Ohio State. So you're just like, maybe the magic will come back. You're just like, but then like when you watch Justin Fields play quarterback, you're just like, I don't really think the magic's there anymore, brother. But it'll be really tough for me to take Garrett Wilson at ADP. He's got to fall to. He's definitely got to probably fall to like wide receiver 22-ish before I consider it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, do you remember where he finished last year?
Probably like wide. Was he? He wasn't a wide receiver. Wide receiver, probably like what, 18?
Nope, higher.
Oh, did he finish as like a wide receiver like one? Like was he 12 or something like that? Right.
He was 11 and 10 PPR half PPR.
Yeah.
Granted, last year was a down year for wide receivers. It was an overall down year, so like it didn't take a whole lot to get there. But yeah, he did finish as a top 12 wide receiver, 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns. Which I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities. We saw the DJ Moore experiment with Justin Fields. It's going to be a completely different offense, different way it produces. But if there is no other competition for him to throw to, like it's going to be like George Pickens. Never mind. There goes the George Pickens argument from last year.
Yep.
They're different wide receivers, though, Garrett Wilson and George Pickens. So, oh, God. If he can get to wide receiver 20, I think that's the point where I'm really excited about Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. I can't take him at ADP. I can't. He's got to fall a little bit.
Dude, the fact that he's back-to-back with Terry McLaurin at 16, DJ Moore's at 17, of course. Nice little cluster right there.
It's a thing of art.
Awesome. Jets, tight ends, we're not worried about that.
Tyler Conklin's still a free agent, if I'm not mistaken. So
I believe so, yeah. We're just now seeing tight ends fall.
That really hurts my Tyler Warren love to the Colts. So,
hey, there's still Loveland. Loveland might fall to us.
Yeah, but like Tyler Warren's like so much better.
I've seen Loveland steam that maybe he might be the first. I mean, it's also that time of year where we're probably going to see Fannin rumors that he's going to be the first tight end at some point. But
we watched him live.
I'm not out. I'm not out. Because he is so young, I can't wait till he falls in the third round of rookie drafts, and I take him and he sits in my taxi.
You and I both sat there and watched the tape, and he was wide open in the field and got tackled in the backfield. Like, it's not a good thing. Not a good look.
Anyway, we're moving on. Moving on from this Harold Fannin slander. Goodness. Let's talk about a guy who did not get as much money as Tutu Atwell in free agency. Honestly, it looks flashier in the graphic here if you're watching on YouTube or on Spotify. It's Najee Harris going to the Chargers. 1 year, $9.25 million. It's actually closer to $4 million when you really break it down. This is his max. He could make this if he does really good, but it's not a great deal.
I mean, it's not a great deal for him, but it's a great deal for the Chargers because I think they wanted him. He's going to be what they wanted Gus Edwards to hopefully be last year that didn't turn out to be. So, and I don't know what the Chargers are honestly doing. Besides, this is an okay signing, but they had like $80 million in cap space, and they've just done nothing.
I guess that's what's more frustrating. Is like y'all have plenty of money. You haven't really spent much. Your quarterback's he's under contract. Why don't you give Najee a fully guaranteed $9 million? Like, don't be a dick. Don't be a dick.
He signed it. They didn't put a gun to his head, and they weren't
he's a running back. He essentially has a gun to his head. He's lucky he got a second contract. He's 26, coming off of his rookie contract.
So let's just play the game of the what if scenario. What if they don't sign J.K. Dobbins back? They draft a very late running back in the 6th round, 7th round. How high does Najee Harris go?
I hope we play the game where everybody's afraid all offseason like we were last year. Like, oh, do I draft Gus Edwards? Do I draft J.K.
And got
too
J.K.
much.
Dobbins together, so a lot of them.
So yeah, how much of that is people? Because I'm excited. I am thoroughly excited for this. Year 2 of this offense to really get rolling. We saw plenty great things from this running game. So I would take him over David Montgomery.
Yes, I would too.
I would take him over Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I could see that.
If it's still a day 3, like you said, if it's a day 3 running back, I could do it over Kenneth Walker. A lot of that, honestly, you can just go off injuries. Najee hasn't missed a single game.
I know.
A single
He's actually got good
freaking
hands.
game.
He actually can catch out of the backfield. So it's not.
And they haven't fixed the wide receiver problem. So there's going to be targets galore.
Yeah.
And Ladd McConkey, does he get the Tank Dell treatment at some point this year? Because he's a little fella.
I don't know, man. He played really well though last year. So
Well, you can play as well as you want, but if you get the
but he's not
your
Tank Dell,
shit
though. He's
rocked.
actually he's 6 feet, if I'm not mistaken. He's pretty tall.
I don't
He
know if we're
looks
calling
just
6
smaller.
feet pretty tall.
Okay, I'm sorry, we're not 6'5" like you, dude. I'm 6 feet tall and I'm considered tall, so screw you, all right?
Come over for Thanksgiving dinner, and you're going to be the shortest guy there.
Yeah, no kidding.
But nobody dines with Redwood, so I get what you're saying. But yeah, I just is he really 6 foot? I guess he plays.
Yes.
I feel like he plays closer to 5'10".
He just looks smaller for whatever reason. I think it's the helmet. The helmet makes his head look a lot bigger, and I don't know why, but
that big head mode that we used to play in NBA jams.
Yeah, if the Chargers don't draft another running back or do a day 3 one, he might be like RB 15. He might he might be up there.
Chase Brown or Najee.
I like Chase Brown.
Who did the Bengals just sign?
They didn't sign. They haven't cut Zach Moss.
I thought they signed a running back. I thought they signed a low-end running back.
They might have signed a backup, but
yeah. If they don't draft anybody, Cincinnati, I think I'm taking Chase Brown just for the explosiveness over Najee. Because that's one thing Najee has never had is explosiveness. But it's okay. If he's going up there and getting double-digit touchdowns and just getting first and second down work, maybe 30-ish receptions, that's going to get you top 15.
Very good running back, yep.
Yeah.
It's a very good running back I like to have.
It's not sexy, but we've never called Najee sexy. He is a great RB2, is what he is. I guess we'll kind of play into the Chargers here a little bit. Mike Williams looks like he's coming back on a $6 million deal. Again, they've still not addressed the wide receiver position. It doesn't move the needle, maybe with overall offense, but he's going to be out there, 6, maybe 7 games?
Those are going to be good 6-7 games, though, because he's familiar with Herbert, and he's actually he's got really good hands. What if they signed back Mike Williams? What if they also, hear me out, they also signed back Keenan Allen?
Honestly, I can't believe that didn't happen first, if we're being honest. I really like Keenan Allen.
I am kind of shocked they didn't bring back Keenan, because I think Keenan would be a good complementary piece to Ladd, but they also need an X. But Keenan, again, we've already said on the show, is a very good route runner, still has good hands. He's probably lost a step or two, but Herbert's a very accurate quarterback, so.
Yeah, sometimes he might just need that little dump off release valve that's, not Josh Palmer, thank goodness. Yeah. Which he signed with
the Bills.
For yes.
3 years, $36 million.
Yeah, the Bills are they're acquiring all of the wide receiver 3s they possibly can. It's kind of sad. It's kind of gross because they dumped a crap ton of money on Josh Allen. Biggest deal now in NFL history. So you're going to follow that up with an overpay on Josh Palmer?
Yeah, I don't know what the Bills are doing. Because Keon Coleman was just
yeah,
he was okay. Maybe he takes that step. I don't.
He could be a really good wide receiver too at some point in his career.
Yeah, you know who the Chargers think sign? I think they're going to sign Amari Cooper.
I'd be okay with that. I think I'd be okay with that. I think I'd take him over Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
So then you're rocking out there with Amari Cooper, Mike Williams, and Ladd McConkey. Yeah. 3 guys that have all dealt with injuries over their careers.
Yep.
Poor Herbert. Oh, and they did not address the tight end position. I thought my boy Evan Ingram was going to make it there, but no, he did not. You know where he landed? With the Broncos, which I think this was probably my second favorite landing spot for him. 2-year, $23 million, he lands with the Broncos. Evan Ingram, I think, was probably the best tight end we had. We saw Juwan Johnson go to back to the Saints on a 3-year, $30 million deal. But he's like super streamer tight end. Like, you don't ever hold him more than 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, you're when you are on a waiver wire hunt with your tight end being on a bye, Juwan Johnson's probably everyone's favorite pickup.
Yeah. He's that guy that wins you that random $1,000 in DFS because you like threw him in there on a whim.
You like $3,600 for Juwan Johnson? Yeah, he'll have a week.
He'll have a week. Hopefully it's this one.
Yeah.
But Evan Ingram plugging in there for Sean McVay. Now, he's talked about, we got all excited for the Warren hype because he's talked about wanting a joker. He wants that guy that can take snaps out of the backfield, do a little bit. Evan Ingram falls into this, but I feel like Evan Ingram 3 years ago really fell into this.
Yeah, I think a lot of Broncos fans got excited because they heard, obviously Peyton was talking about the tight end role, how they want somebody like that. Obviously, he's had Jimmy Graham with success and stuff like that. I think Evan Ingram will be probably the most overdrafted tight end this year, and I just don't know if I'd want that.
Don't say that. Don't do that to me because he's not in a bad situation.
He's not, though, but I just think he's going to be overdrafted.
I don't disagree with you there because right now his wide receiver situation, he's got an aging Cortland Sutton. Mm-hmm. Sutton's good. He's a great red zone presence, but he's getting older. You've got Vele there. You've got Mims. You've got the Oregon Franklin.
Yep.
Yeah, so we haven't seen anybody really emerge as far as those young guys. So I think Evan Ingram could see a decent 100 targets, maybe even more.
Yeah, the Broncos, they spent this free agency. They fixed their defense up. I definitely think they're going to take a tight end or a wide receiver in that first round with their first round pick.
Evan Ingram's going as tight end 16 right now. Again, we're checking this soon after. It'll definitely go up. Are you taking Evan Ingram or I want to say David Njoku, but we don't really know the quarterback. If the Browns have either a rookie or Kirk Cousins, would you take Njoku or Evan Ingram?
Oh, I'm taking Evan Ingram. That's just mean for Njoku.
Travis Kelce or Evan Ingram?
Oh,
yeah. Man, I'm taking Evan.
Yeah, especially the way they talked about Travis Kelce basically having diminished role, I'd probably go Evan Ingram.
Tucker Kraft.
I like Tucker Kraft actually. So he's gonna be boom or bust. He's gonna be boom. He's gonna have boom weeks and he's gonna have bust weeks.
I like him a lot more this year because of the Christian Watson injury. Because I think Kraft is probably going to be the number 2 target on this team. It's going to be him, it's going to be Jaden Reed, and then you've got Dobbs, who's in and out of the lineup, and then you've got Wicks, who his catching is in and out of the lineup.
And a name we haven't said yet, but he was officially released, is Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp was released, and the rumors are the Packers are interested.
God, please don't. Please don't.
But they weren't interested in DK Metcalf.
Yeah, after the rumors of like maybe he could be going there for a first or a second, quickly turned to they weren't even kicking the tires there. Does this, I mean, yeah, I guess we kind of talked about it, just kind of like a middling tight end 2, maybe he has some relevance, flashes into that tight end 12, but consistency I think is going to be the issue here.
Yeah.
Alrighty, it's time, folks. If you are not the Colts fan, if you don't like seeing people in pain, go ahead and skip it like 2-3 minutes because here we are. Daniel Jones signs with the Colts, 1-year deal, $14 million. Ballard came out right before the combine saying that he wanted to bring in some competition, make sure that year 3 of Anthony Richardson doesn't know that he has pressure on him, even though he was benched the past year. What do you make of this? Where are we?
I mean, if Danny Dimes is starting for the Colts might as well just tank for Arch Manning and really hope that the Manning brothers sit there and say, yeah, we'll let him go to the Colts because with the NIL money, and obviously he comes from a lot of money, if he still stays, that just means we are screwed as an organization. No, but seriously, A-Rich, again, like I still think he's going to have fantasy relevance in some weeks. He is working out with the Josh Allen quarterback coach, but Danny Dimes coming here, everyone thinks it's over for A-Rich. I think Danny Dimes probably starts a game or two just because of A-Rich's history. But it's nothing. It's a nothing burger for me, honestly.
I think both of these guys are going to be great streamers if and when they play. If you're getting them off the waiver wire, I think you definitely have a huge upside. But I mean, Daniel Jones has always had issues with fumbling. Anthony Richardson has issues with just not completing passes and picks. So these are volatile players. These are great QB2s in Superflex leagues. You know, after you've secured up your studly quarterback one, put one or both of these guys, whoever's starting at the time, into that mix of your second quarterback, and I think they'll be great. I think
high ceiling, low floor.
Yeah, 100%. I think Anthony Richardson gets through the first month. The media is probably going to come after him probably after week 1 or week 2, whenever that is. You know, week 1 might be scripted enough where he does decent, but I think we're going to have the pressure of this all season, and it's going to be annoying, and you're going to see us pretty pissed by week 6, 4.
At that point, I'll just be hoping for a tankathon.
And that's kind of why I want Anthony Richardson all season. He's either going to get better because he doesn't have the experience for the starts, or he is going to do exactly what everybody keeps telling us, that he stinks and he's bad, and he will get us to Arch Manning. So, yeah, I am full on. I only want Daniel Jones. I like that we have him there for the injury backup.
Yes, I like when teams have a good backup. Like Daniel Jones should have been a backup for Miami. It's just like you feel better confident as a team. Like Daniel Jones with A-Rich now, it's just like, oh, well, I'm not going to touch any of the Colts wide receivers. That's fine. Like, I mean, the only one I really want is Josh Downs anyways. So.
Yeah. A.D. Mitchell, unfortunately, his career won't really amount to anything because he's got to spend 3 more years in Indy. And Michael Pittman, we're talking football here, not about the person. Because we're talking about the person, I talk about Michael Pittman all day. Love him as a person all day long. But unfortunately,
back injury is very scary.
And he's not he's not what we need in a number 1. Send him somewhere else to go be.
He's not an elite number 1. He is a number 1, but he's not an elite number 1.
He's a T. Higgins. You know, put him next. You know, like he could.
I think T. Higgins is a little better too.
Maybe a little bit, but he gets hurt a lot, so I think he kind of falls a notch.
Yeah,
but I kind of see them in the same breath. You know, I think Michael Pittman could go be a number 2 to any other guy, and he would be phenomenal.
A very, very good wide receiver too. Yes.
Yeah.
Come on, let's talk about it. How about them boys?
Do you want to talk about
Javonte Williams is a Cowboy.
Oh, my goodness. All right.
1 year, $3 million.
And this is another one, like, does he even make the team?
He'll make the team.
I think because of the Cowboys, they are incredibly cheap.
Who do they have right now? It's because Rico's gone. It's the small guy. Who's
Vaughn,
the little guy?
Deuce Vaughn.
Yep, that's it. It's him and Javonte.
And I get that, but, like, they have to draft, like...
Ashton Genty is just screaming Cowboy to me if he falls. He's genuinely screaming just bloody murder Dallas Cowboy, and you know it.
Oh, he's not. He doesn't want to go there.
No, he does. He's from the area. He said he would like to be a Cowboy.
Oh, I don't think anybody actually says that and means it.
I mean, if like, again, we've said that the Cowboys is a good landing spot for Genty, so we would not be upset if he goes there. So, but yeah, I think. But like how? Let me just ask you this: the Cowboys draft a day 3 running back.
Then
Javonte starting.
He is. I would imagine he's probably started. Like, he's 24 years old. Like, this guy's. I still think he's got something. I still think he can be a starting NFL running back. But
oh, that's cute.
I know. Maybe it's all the dynasty shares I have that I'm talking for.
We are now on year 3 removal of his really bad ACL, MCL, LCL tear. Like,
well, this will be year 3, yeah.
Yeah, this will be year 3 because, like, we were hoping this year to be like, okay, he's got Sean Payton. You know, Sean Payton likes to use running backs, but he was bad.
He caught a lot of passes. He hit his over on the yearly passing thing, so he made me money there. So I do have to, give him that. But, like, I'm just saying, you put him in an offense with Dak, who is willing to dump the ball off, who, I mean, do they fix their wide receiver issue? You know, is it just going to be Lamb there? So I think with the right volume, I'm plenty fine with drafting Javonte Williams, depending on the price, but I just don't know the volume. Let me know who else shows up there, because they have to pick up another running back. They have to draft somebody.
Yeah, I think so too.
And last little bit here, we talked about the Cooper Kupp is cut. Aaron Rodgers officially cut. Rank his locations as far as Jets, Steelers, and Vikings.
What do you mean, Giants?
Giants, yeah. Sorry, I went New York.
Because he ain't going back to the Jets. I would say Steelers are 1. There's a rumor mill that like some sort of like company agency leaked something to where like
that he was looking for merch or whatever.
Yeah, something like that, to where it's like one of those like tinfoil conspiracy theory hats, or it's like already. And obviously Tomlin does like Aaron Rodgers. He has spoken nothing but highly of him. So like, I definitely could see. I think Pittsburgh's like a solid 1. The Giants are 2, and the Vikings are 3. From my understanding, the Vikings beat writers are kind of scoffing at the idea of Rodgers going there. And he's already made the comment of like, I don't want to follow Favre's footsteps.
That's the only reason we want him to go to the Vikings.
It'd be hilarious. It would genuinely be hilarious.
Oh, God, that would be too much fun. Anything else you want to touch on before we get out of here? Oh, actually, I do. I want to throw out there the Tunsil trade. We got the left tackle for the Texans being traded away. They also traded away to a guard, and then they cut another guard. So rumors are coming out that this was a toxic offensive line room. I would say that, too, after you have to shuffle up this much. Looking at it, I don't hate the trade. The amount of holds that Tunsil had, yeah, I know he is elite. He's getting older. He's owed quite a bit. They got 4 picks. They could probably replace him or use a good pick on him and replace other pieces. So thoughts on this?
Yeah, Texans actually did the right thing. From my understanding, that he did not like practicing, I guess. And D'Amico Ryans love practice. So like, I guess there's a bump in the road. And then people are like, oh, but they traded, Laremy Tunsil, which he is an elite talent. That does like leave a hole. They should definitely, address that, which I think they will with their first round pick. But they also have the Vikings second round pick. They have quite a bit of draft capital where they can fix this. Them letting go Green, he was, if I'm not mistaken, the worst guard in the NFL, or probably second worst.
Which is weird that Philly took him.
Yeah,
that's just the only red flag to me. Cause I'm like, oh, what's Philly? Because look what Philly did with Mekhi Becton this past year.
Yeah, and Mekhi Becton's probably going to get a pretty decent payday too. So like, the Texans could easily just go and sign him. But yeah, I think the Texans are, and it hurts me to say this, they're doing the right thing with getting rid of those guys. And now they'll make sure they address it and get the guys they want. So,
yeah, the initial your freak out is C.J. Stroud did what last year? He ran for his life and got sacked how many times?
Yeah.
Why would you decimate your offensive line? Well, probably because they weren't very good, or at least weren't good together. So
those go hand in hand. It's like, well, why was he getting sacked so much? Because the offensive line sucks. So why would you keep the same guys and not want to fix it? So it's just kind of like, it's a weird statement when everyone freaks out. It's like, well, think about what you're saying. They're letting the guys go that kept getting him sacked.
Look at the Chiefs changing that offensive line up,
Yeah, that's always weird to me. And then I would say we have Cooper Kupp up there. I think rankings wise for fantasy, it's probably Patriots 1. Who would be 2? Like, who's legitimately I think would be a great
Panthers.
spot for? Panthers 2. I'm gonna say another name. The Cardinals 3.
Yeah, I like that too, because I was really excited for possibly when the T. Higgins rumor. I thought he'd send him down there.
Seattle too. Seattle actually would be a nice little complimentary piece for JSN.
What if he goes to San Francisco? What if Ayuk does get traded and he goes to San Francisco?
San Francisco's already done enough signings, like Marcus Robinson, Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, and Ayuk. Like, I don't think they need
Ayuk could be out. There's trade rumors. Who knows? Honestly, Dallas. I think Dallas needs to be on the Cooper Kupp train as well.
I do too. He's also from Washington, so that's why I threw at Seattle.
Okay. I was just playing on the let's go with the rival NFC West teams.
Yeah, you can play them twice a year. Kind of like a little bit of like an FU mentality.
Absolutely. Alrighty, folks, we have got to get out of here. We got to shut it down. There is going to be free agency stuff dumping all of next week, so we'll make sure we recap that as it comes. If you're looking for more of us here on the Too Much Fantasy Football YouTube page, like, subscribe, make sure you're helping us out here so we can get this thing really rocking and rolling. We've got the podcast here, so listen there. Brennan, if they're looking for you specifically, where can they find you?
You can find me on X at Too Much BMilk. That's where I am, trying to figure out what Travis Hunter is going to be fantasy relevant or not. So,
and I will be assisting in that because we got to get this figured out here, folks. It's at @too_much_Brian on X, at @too_much_Brian everywhere else. If you're looking for more fun, we've got a rookie mock draft coming at you next week, and then of course rankings, because it's never too early for some rankings.
Never too early.
Never too early. All right, folks, we got to get out of here. We'll see y'all next time, and see you.